The basketball world is witnessing what might go down as one of the most laughable endorsement disasters in recent memory. Reebok, under Shaquille O'Neal's watch, actually thought Angel Reese could carry their basketball comeback. Spoiler alert, it's been a catastrophe so far, one worthy of a Harvard Business School case study in what not to do. While Caitlin Clark is shattering attendance and viewership records, and Sophie Cunningham is winning fans by just being unapologetically herself, Angel Reese is dominating headlines for all the wrong reasons. Insiders are whispering that this whole thing could go down as the sneaker industry's biggest misstep since New Coke. Let's call it what it is. Not just a bad bet, but a full-blown endorsement crisis. Every time Angel Reese steps onto the hardwood, statisticians brace themselves, not to log greatness, but to watch inefficiency in motion. In just her second year, Reese has managed something almost impressive in its awfulness, converting a horrific 31.5% of her layups while taking the third most in the wnba. Layups, the easiest shot in basketball. We're talking about a 6'3" pro who misses bunnies at a rate that would get a middle school player benched. At this point, it's less sport and more performance art. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is out here pulling up from the logo, breaking records, and turning arenas into sold-out spectacles. The contrast couldn't be clearer. The bloopers practically write themselves. Against the New York Liberty, Reese delivered a sequence destined for eternal ridicule. 4 consecutive missed putbacks in 12 seconds. 2 of them swatted back into her face like she was scrimmaging against a concrete wall. The clip went viral instantly. Not the kind of viral that sells shoes, but the kind that ends up on YouTube montages with clown music. While Caitlin Clark is drawing comparisons to Steph Curry and LeBron James, Reese is starring in compilations titled When Basketball Isn't Your Calling. One sells out stadiums, the other sells memes. The Chicago Bravado once again got their ass kicked. Angel Reese was so bad last night. The announcers calling the game, they were laughing at her performance. Check out some highlights for yourself. Well, Casey, you always do this. You select a couple of bad plays and try to convince us that Angel Reese isn't a superstar. Now, her defenders will point to her overall field goal percentage at 44.4% as if that saves her. It doesn't, because the majority of her attempts come from point-blank range, where real professionals finish at 70 to 80%. Reese has turned what should be automatic layups into a slot machine. Pull the lever, hope the ball goes in, and more often than not, it doesn't. Coaches call the paint the money area. Reese has turned it into a casino where the house always wins. You can see why Reebok's investment is suddenly looking more like a gamble gone wrong. And even commentators, the ones trained to hype up free throws like they're buzzer beaters, are losing it. In a recent game, after another shocking Reese miss at the rim, the announcer audibly chuckled. Not the encouraging, she'll bounce back type of laugh, but the stunned, did that really just happen? Laugh. When professional broadcasters can't keep a straight face while describing your play, it's over. That's not just a red flag. It's a neon billboard outside Reebok HQ flashing. We messed up. With her dominant performances in June, she earned her All-Star selection. But these aren't just a couple of bad plays. These aren't bloopers. These aren't rare moments. This is the norm. The same thing happened last week when the Chicago Bravado got their ass kicked by the Minnesota Lakers. I don't have to convince you that Angel Reese has no impact on winning. Just look at her record, look at her resume in the wnba. Naturally, social media is feasting on this. Entire accounts are now dedicated to compiling Angel Reese's misses, complete with slow-motion replays and circus soundtracks. It's practically become its own subgenre of basketball content. And for Reebok, which wanted highlight reels to sell sneakers, they're getting the opposite, blooper reels. This doesn't move product. It moves executives toward polishing their resumes. Now, if Reese were at least part of a winning team, some of this might be overlooked. But the Chicago Sky are a disaster, limping to a miserable 7-21 record. 8 straight losses, 0 playoff hopes, and when Reese missed 5 games with a back injury, the team went winless anyway. Here's the paradox. They're bad with her, and somehow worse without her. It's like trying to survive in a lifeboat with holes. You're sinking regardless. It's just a question of how fast. I'm no expert in math, but it looks like Angel Reese wins 1 out of every 3 games. If I remember correctly, Angel Reese has beaten a team with a winning record once this season. So you tell me how Angel Reese impacts Wentz. Head coach Tyler Marsh has tried to spin it, but there's no PR trick strong enough to mask reality. When your offense is built around someone who can't finish under the basket, you're not building a playoff team, you're building a blooper reel. And no marketing department on earth can spin that into a sneaker empire. Let's remember, Reebok didn't just sign Angel Reese, they made her the centerpiece of their basketball revival. Shaq himself co-signed it. The whole plan was clear. Build hype, release a signature shoe, and tap into Gen Z. But here's the catch. You need actual on-court greatness to pull that off. This isn't TikTok, it's professional basketball, and fans aren't buying shoes tied to someone going viral for airballing layups. What makes it even worse is the way Reebok leadership sold this. CEO Todd Krinsky compared Reese to legends like Allen Iverson and Shaq, calling her a culture changer. Let's be real, that's not just laughable, it's insulting. Iverson didn't just shift culture, he redefined basketball swagger while dominating on the court. Shaq was unstoppable, a living highlight reel. Angel Reese, she's redefining what not to do in professional sports. If that's culture changing, it's only because she's dragging the culture into meme territory. Now the whispers are growing louder, turning into full-blown regret. Did Reebok actually evaluate the player? Or were they so thirsty for relevance they grabbed the loudest personality available? It's looking less like a business strategy and more like a panicked gamble. And what they ended up with is a multi-year, multi-million-dollar mess. Not a revival, but a mistake they can't take back. She had a good game, 22 points, 13 rebounds, but she shot terribly. She got bailed out so many times, throwing up, brick layups, getting phantom foul calls from the refs. She did make 10 of 11 free throws, so that is good. 6 of 16 from the floor is not good at all. 0 of 1 from 3, she was a -11. Listen, man, Kiki area thing got the better of her, and here's the kicker. Reese's injury couldn't have come at a better time for everyone except Reebok. Sure, injuries are never something to celebrate, but her absence was like a gift to fans and commentators exhausted by her weekly blooper reels. Just when people were reaching peak burnout from endless missed layup compilations, she vanished from the court. For once, Angel Reese finally pulled off a disappearing act that made sense. Unfortunately for Reebok, it left them wondering, how do you sell sneakers tied to someone whose signature move is missing? And don't forget, that injury conveniently kept her out of a matchup with Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever. It was supposed to be marketed as some grand rivalry, but in reality, it would have been Caitlin Clark obliterating her so-called rival on national TV. Instead, Reese ducked the spotlight. One player is rewriting the WNBA's record books, the other is struggling through basic layup drills. Fans know the difference, and in the end, Reese's absence only made the comparison sharper. Caitlin Clark is the real deal. Reese, she's just the punchline. Let's take a step back and put on the business hat for a second, because this isn't just a basketball fail, it's a masterclass in brand misalignment. Reebok didn't just sign an athlete, they bet their comeback on someone whose main contribution to basketball lately has been fueling blooper reels. Endorsements work on one principle, aspiration. You buy Jordans because you want to soar. You buy LeBrons because you want dominance. Nobody buys sneakers because they want to clank layups. And yet here we are. Angel Reese's inspiration isn't greatness, it's prayer. Prayer that maybe this time the layup goes in. Reebok tried to sidestep her lack of production by leaning into her bold personality and unapologetic image. Great, those things can sell cosmetics, or maybe land a spot on a reality show. But performance sneakers, the shoes kids wear to the court believing they'll play better. You can't stamp a slogan on a shoebox that says, guaranteed to miss like Reese. That's not a tagline, it's legal liability. And if Reese were on a team that covered for her flaws, this gamble might not look quite so catastrophic. But the Chicago Sky aren't just bad. They're tailor-made to magnify every one of her weaknesses. no spacing, no flow, and a star whose best offensive contribution is chasing rebounds of her own misses. What you end up with is the sky. A team that somehow manages to score less, miss more, and still rack up highlight reels, but only for the wrong reasons. Then you've got Coach Tyler Marsh. Imagine being handed your first head coaching gig, only to be told, here's your franchise centerpiece. She can't finish around the rim, makes poor decisions, and goes viral for lowlights. That's not coaching. That's public relations crisis management with a clipboard. And hilariously, when Reese sat out with her injury, the team actually looked functional. Still losing, sure, but at least the offense resembled something you'd see in a professional league. Without Reese bricking every possession, the sky looked less like a circus act. That says it all. Tyler Marsh has this point forward thing on lock. Tyler Marsh has this Angel Reese point forward thing on lock. There we go, pushing the pace. Yeah, Angel, it's okay, don't be mad. Alright, here we go, we got it, and she passed, looks like it's gonna be to Elizabeth Williams, and oh goodness. Meanwhile, Reese's game footage has become social media's favorite comedy loop. Every botched putback, every clanked bunny gets remixed with circus music, zoom-ins, and slow-mo edits. Entire TikTok accounts are built on her lowlights. Millions of views pour in, not because people are inspired, but because they can't look away. She's not producing basketball content, she's producing meme content. And Reebok somehow thought this was the face of their revival campaign. Here's the problem. When your only marketable value is being a punchline, the clock runs out fast. Social media eats its clowns alive. Today you're trending, tomorrow you're forgotten. And once the internet finds a new target, Reese's blooper fame will evaporate. Then what's left? A shoe tied to an athlete who never had the game to back the hype. That's not influence, that's quicksand. Which brings us to Reebok's grand plan, the Angel Reese signature shoe launch. Except it's shaping up less like a celebration and more like a panic meeting with balloons. The teasers are slick, the campaign's loud, but no ad agency in the world can Photoshop her layups into makes. That's like Ferrari launching a race car sponsored by someone who can't drive manual. The disconnect is so obvious it borders on parody. Industry chatter is already buzzing. Some insiders say Reebok might pivot, positioning her sneaker as a lifestyle shoe instead of performance gear. Translation: we never meant this for the court anyway. Others say they'll push back the release, crossing their fingers she figures out her game. But here's reality. This isn't a slum. This is a pattern. And you can't build an empire on a weak foundation. Confidence is missing. Credibility is missing. And Reebok is about to find out the hard way what happens when you build on sand. The nuclear option? Pull the plug. Quietly shelve the campaign, hope no one notices. But the internet doesn't forget. Every viral miss, every brutal clip of Reese getting blocked by smaller players, every meme, it's all archived forever. Years from now, anyone Googling Angel Reese signature shoe won't see sneaker ads. They'll see blooper reels and "what were they thinking?" headlines. This whole partnership is becoming a flashing warning sign for every brand executive in sports marketing. A textbook case of confusing social media attention from marketable talent. Sure, she trends, but so do car crashes. That doesn't mean you name a highway after them. At the end of the day, Reebok's gamble with Angel Reese is turning into a tragicomedy. Fans aren't laughing. Investors aren't laughing. And the poor Reebok intern scrolling through hate comments definitely isn't laughing. The moral here is simple. If you're going to tie your brand to a star, make sure she can make a layup. Because otherwise you're not selling basketball dreams. You're selling punchlines. And no sneaker, no matter how well designed, can outrun a reputation built on bricks.